Iron Supporting Food Banks collects food and cash donations for needy families in Newham Borough and beyond. Please consider making a donation via their Just Giving page, the link for which you will find in the description section of this stream. Come on, you Irons!
West Ham are massive, everywhere we go! West Ham are massive, everywhere we go! Everywhere we go! West Ham are massive, everywhere we go! West Ham are massive, everywhere we go! Everywhere we go!
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the West Ham Massive. Thanks for joining us. Please don't forget to like, comment on, and share this stream to your social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're new around here. Don't forget to hit the bell icon for alerts of new content. All these things that you can implement are free of charge. They help to grow the channel. They take a couple of seconds of your time. So what's not to like? Thank you very much indeed for your support in this matter. We are here to discuss the aftermath of match day 7 of 38, which finished West Ham United 4, Ipswich Town 1 at the London Stadium. Joining me is my usual co-host, Mr. Ben Gates. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, mate, and obviously having a good weekend, and that, big part of that is the great win yesterday.
Absolutely. Guys, keep your eyes on the ticker at the bottom. It will intermittently change as we go along with various nuggets of information pertaining to the match that took place yesterday, such as the officials that were there doing their job with whistles and flags and cards and all those usual things. I'm also going to press this button, and we've got this little presentation. I don't just do this on a whim. I try and entertain and inform people as I go along. So I hope you appreciate this. Okay, Ben. So let's get started into it. So the teams were announced, and I know what I thought about the starting 11 I saw, but what was your thoughts on what J-Lo decided to go with in claret and blue?
I mean, we were on the same WhatsApp group, Rob, and I think I actually posted that I was, there was probably 2 or 3 players that I thought, based on previous performances, were lucky to be in the side. Probably Antonio being one, Rodriguez being the other that sprung to mind, and potentially Paqueta as well. But it was still a decent side, albeit that a few of those players had been a little bit out of form, in my opinion. But it proved that it was good enough to win the game in the end.
Absolutely. Well, that was the starting lineup that was put forward by the manager, and you referenced Rodriguez. I think that was the first one that I looked at. That I understood it. Obviously, last week it had to happen because Alvarez was unavailable due to the 2 yellows he picked up in the League Cup against Liverpool in the previous game. But he was available, as you can see. He was on the bench, so I'm not too sure initially what the manager's thinking was. All right, it came good in the end, but I'm talking at the time that the teams were announced. I've got to be honest, I probably looked at it the same as most people and went, uh-oh.
Yeah, do you know what, Rob? I mean, we'll I don't know if you want to talk through it now, but I actually think Rodriguez had by far his best game. I mean, look, right, we're playing a newly promoted Ipswich, so you don't know whether to get too carried away. But actually, when you look at how Ipswich have performed this season, other than City, no one's blown them away, and other than City and Liverpool, no one's actually beat them. They've got good draws against Brighton, Fulham, Villa. So I don't think. I genuinely, some people say, well, how good was it a case of we played really well, or how poor was Ipswich? I actually don't think Ipswich were that poor. I think they made a few silly little errors trying to pass it out from the back. But quite frankly, Rodriguez, I definitely see some play from him as to, that's why there's a guy there that's been in a World Cup winning squad. In terms of his passing range, I really see that yesterday.
Fair enough. Was there any sort of anyone on the Ipswich side that you thought could cause us a problem? Anyone that stood out for you?
Yeah. I think the lap. Obviously, we covered him in the preview show, and that was the guy that I felt we needed to keep a close eye on in order to win the game.
Yeah, and obviously he he got on the score sheet, which was a point of annoyance for me, but we'll get into that as we go along.
Yeah.
So that was your thoughts on the starting 11. So talk me through your thoughts on our first half performance, Ben.
Well, yeah. Do you know what, Rob? I would say, up till about, obviously we scored in the first minute, which was a great start. But then you're thinking, and then you look, and 5 minutes later they've equalised, and you're a bit dejected because you're thinking, come on, it feels like we're not concentrating enough to win the game. And yeah, actually, fair play, Michael. It was quite nice and poignant. Given Phillips, give us the bird before that. Within a minute, he's made a bit of a mistake that led to a goal. So it was good to stick one up him, quite frankly. But do you know what, Rob? In summary, I think the first 20 minutes of the first half was a bit. I just felt like we were getting it, and it was just passing round between our defence. You know what I mean? Kilman would get it, pass to Todibo, back to the goalie, and it felt a bit pedestrian. And you're thinking, well, there was a part of me thinking, well, if this is the modern way of playing football, then give me back David Moyes. At least we might fucking get the ball forward at some point. You know what I mean? That did enter my head. And then, I referenced it to a friend of mine. I actually think the pivotal moment in the game.
Thanks, GP. Appreciate it.
Good man. I actually think the pivotal moment in the game for me was Todibo going on a lung bursting run through the middle. And that for me was the catalyst that I think got the crowd up a little bit, got the rest of the players up a little bit, and they thought, hold on, we need to fucking really up the intensity, get out of this comfort mode. And then that's when I felt that the latter half of the first half, there was some real good football being played. Nice one touch. Obviously, we got the second goal, and we could have had a third and a fourth. Souček had one cleared off the line, and Antonio put in a lovely cross for Kudus, and he hit the post. So I actually think, Rob, I thought that you could. That's the second half of the first half. I started to think, well, if this is Lopetegui ball, shall we say, then this is something I'm very excited about watching.
Fair point. Yeah, I thought that I'm largely in agreement with you. I think the first 20 minutes was a little bit sort of so. The opening 48 seconds, brilliant, fantastic. But then within a couple of minutes, the goal was very disappointing. And I got to be honest, watching it back, and he's a great shot stopper, Areola, and he made a wonderful save in the second half.
Yeah.
And he's made many great saves in his time between the sticks for us. But I do wonder now, is there something in what Tony Cottee said a couple of weeks ago about we've got two number 2 goalkeepers? Because I look at that goal, mate, and I'm like, that should never have hit the back of the net, really.
Do you know what, mate? I didn't hear that comment from Tony Cottee, and I know he's paid as a pundit, but I feel like he's talking a little bit too much at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I haven't been panicking at all so far this season, even though results haven't gone our way and performances haven't been great. But for Cottee to be coming out already and going, oh, Lopetegui, I didn't want him, he wasn't the first choice. I just think, shut the fuck up. You're a West Ham fan. Give the guy a chance. You know what I mean? We've played City. We've played Chelsea. You know what I mean? It's like, and I don't think we've got 2 number 2s. Look, Areola could have done better for the goal. But like you say, Rob, I think in the second half, he done like a Gordon Banks style save down to his right hand side that has kept us, kept us well in charge of the game. So look, with the greatest respect to TC, just shut up for a little while and let our manager try and build something.
Fair point, mate. Well made. Okay, so we move into the second half. Was it more of the same to you from where we left off in the first half? Is that what you saw then in the sort of like the remainder of the second half?
Yeah, I think the towels were up, and what was really pleasing to see that we went for the jugular. Do you know what I mean? It would have been quite easy to sit back and go back to how we were in the first 20 minutes. But obviously we come out, we got a third fairly soon after half time. And it was a great finish, cut inside from Bowen. And then, pretty much controlled the game. And I think, all of the big players turned up. All of the big players, attacking wise, either got a goal or an assist. And I think it was a great day all round. Like I say, it's a newly promoted side at home. So, we should be winning. But it was the manner of the performance and the win that was just as pleasing for me as the scoreline, really.
Yeah. What did you think of the goal that put us 3-1 to the good, and I believe effectively ended the game as a contest? I know there was another goal afterwards, but I think that was essentially the goal that took the game away from Ipswich, the goal from Bowen, which he obviously, again, made a little bit of a fool of a certain Calvin Phillips, I believe.
Yeah. Look, I think when Bowen gets in that position, you know what he's going to do. Do you know what I mean? It was quite easy for him to cut in and have the shot across the goal. It was a great finish right in the corner. And, I think Bowen is probably a little bit unlucky to be out the England squad because...
Do you think so?
I do, mate, because I think when you look at some of the people that are in there, Bowen's done more than them this season. Do you get what I'm saying? So in terms of goals and assists, he's got more. Following yesterday's game, he's got more than pretty much all of the competition, other than Cole Palmer.
I think that's the thing, though, isn't it? It's following yesterday's game. I mean, that's 2 extra assists and an extra goal. I mean, before that, but this is just me being really honest. I actually think he missed out on the England squad because he wasn't good enough.
Yeah. You could argue that before
at
the game,
point the squad was picked. I mean,
yeah, maybe. But look, hopefully he had a point to prove, and he had a great game yesterday, which was great to see, and hopefully he continues in that vein of form.
Yeah, Troj mentions about the Souček's passing. I got to say, you're absolutely right, Troj. There was a couple of balls he sprayed around where I was like, hang on, what's going on here? Has he sort of like he's inherited the spirit of Andrea Pirlo or something like that? What's going on? There was a couple of balls he sprayed around that I was like, that's what he's not supposed to be able to do, and I've just seen him do it. What's going on?
Look, it just goes to show, maybe with a bit of confidence, he feels he has got that ability. I mean, he obviously has, Rob. Do you know what I mean? It's like you don't get to the level he's playing at, both club and country, without being able to pass a ball. A lot of the times he hasn't really showcased it, but he's obviously got the ability. And actually, following after the game, you look at the midfield, which was a concern, and you think actually the attributes that all 3 of those individuals have got come to the fore with a really great performance.
Yeah, that's fair. I think we were good value for it, Ben. The final goal, which was again, it was created by Bowen. No, not that button. Created by Bowen. Found Paqueta on the back stick. What did you make of Paqueta's performance? And just sort of like dovetailing onto that, have you heard the news now that it's been confirmed that the hearing has now been set for obviously the betting charges for March? Have you heard that?
I only just see it flash up. Someone had written it just while we was on the stream. Yeah, well, that's quite good because I mean, when does the season finish? April.
Beginning of May usually.
Right. So look, we've got him for the rest of this season. So hopefully that settles him down. I've got to be honest, Rob. I still am concerned about his form because I think first half I thought he was very poor. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like he got done for the goal to a certain extent. I think Phillips put a strong tackle on him and he lied on the floor for about 2 minutes. And in my head, I was thinking he might have got a little bit of a kick, but I just feel like he don't really fancy it, Rob. Like it's one of them. If he wakes up and he feels like he can do his Copacabana style football, then yeah, he might turn up. But for me, first half especially, every time he got the ball near the edge of their box, he'd try a little flick and it'd go to an Ipswich player and the move would break down. I'm really happy. I think everyone played well, but I'm not sure he played that well. But for me, Rob, I feel like with Paqueta, if the game is going well, he's got a good chance of playing well. But I feel like when the chips are down, I don't think we can rely on him to pull us through and into games. So let's be honest, newly promoted Ipswich at home, you might be able to accommodate him, but I think I'm still concerned about his form. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I am. I'll be perfectly honest. It remains to be seen. I mean, now that he's got clarity on this is when the hearing is that going to help him? Is that going to hinder him? And we're only going to know that in probably about the next 4 to 8 games, there or thereabouts, whether it's had any sort of like upsurge. Because now that he knows, is he going to be is his mindset going to be right? I now know. I now have clarity on when this hearing is going to go. So whatever the outcome is what it is. But I know when it's going to happen. So I've got a little date on the calendar I can circle in and say, right, that's when I need to be sort of defending myself against these accusations. I think possibly it could have the opposite effect, and it may weigh him down. I don't know. I'm not in the head of Lucas Paqueta. It's one of those. So we'll know in the first sort of like 4 to 8 games, I would suggest, if his form continues to be, and I say that, I mean, look, yesterday, yes, he got a goal, well done, but to be honest with you, mate, it was on a silver platter. If he hadn't have scored that, I'd have said, Jesus Christ, he might as well retire now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I thought other than the goal, I thought his performance yesterday was, if I'm being very kind about it, poor.
Yeah. I think I think everyone else played really well, but from what I see, a lot of his passing didn't really come off. And like I say, I did think when he went down, I did think he might just come off because his game, everything he was trying wasn't coming off, and he just didn't fancy him. But fair play to him. He continued. We won the game. Obviously, Bowen put a couple one on the plate for him. I was very pleased for the other member, because let's be honest, Antonio and Kudus, they hadn't scored up until this game, had they? And
no, I don't think they have.
No, and I think I was really pleased for them because they both looked. Kudus, he was chasing everything down. He was trying to bully the fullback, and Antonio as well. They both had really good games. And all of a sudden, look, Antonio, his best days are behind him. But actually, yesterday did actually show me he's still got a place in the squad. Whether that's starting every game or not, but he looked up for it. Kudus looked up for it. And I think it was a very good performance all round. Defensively, Todibo and Kilman are looking solid. And it's interesting, Rob, isn't it? It's like your centre halves now. I was watching the Brentford game, obviously our game, the Spurs lad last week against Man United. It feels like there's a new trend in the game that your centre halves, when they see a gap, burst into it. And I think Kilman and Todibo have definitely got that pace and power, which is quite good to see, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, let's get into the next segment of things, Ben. In your opinion, star player for Ipswich, if you care. Star player for West Ham. Give us your thoughts.
All right, well, I'll quickly cover Ipswich because I don't really care, but I will go for Delap. You know, young striker. It was a good goal. I think he's left-footed, but it was a good strike with his right. And yeah, he's on to 4 goals now, so fair play to him. But for me, it's got to be Jarrod Bowen. And do you know what? It's one of them. That might be a reason he's not in the England squad, Rob. Is that
Cool.
Jarrod Bowen? He's not blessed with something like one particular amazing quality. Do you get what I'm saying? Like he's not got blistering pace. He's not the most skillful winger. He's not the best in the air. But what it is, he's just very good at all of those things. Do you know what I mean? And it's his work ethic that has made him excel to where he is. Because I think if he didn't have the ethic that he has, he could easily be a championship player. But he don't stop.
Work rate.
Yeah, it's his work rate that sets him apart. And look, he's got a good goal, 2 assists, and I'm really pleased for him. But if I'm honest, mate, I think he got it because of the output. But you could have picked 5 or 6 players for man of the match, really, like Kudus, Antonio, like you say, Souček, Rodriguez, Todibo. They all looked good. I must admit, it was a real good team performance.
Absolutely. If anybody is watching this on anything other than YouTube, then please pop over to the YouTube channel. We do have a man of the match poll running. We've currently got 22 votes cast. At the minute, now this is an interesting one because despite the fact he got 2 assists and a goal, Jarrod Bowen is not winning that particular poll, interestingly enough. With 55% of the poll, we've got Jean-Clair Todibo that's currently heading that particular vote. But if you're watching this on anything other than YouTube, or if you're watching this on YouTube and you've not had a vote, please do cast your vote. You might make a difference. But at the minute, it's quite interesting that despite the offensive output that the England man had, or the former England man, I suppose, in a lot of ways, and hopefully he will be again. But the French centre back is beating him hands down, which is quite an interesting one.
I think, I mean, everyone's got their own opinion. I think maybe because Todibo's quite new, and it's just exciting to see what he's got in his locker, because it does actually seem. I know it's early days, but him and Kilman, they're both quite young, and you think that could be a good partnership for quite a few years to come.
Absolutely. Okay, so next question I've got here, my usual sort of like raft of questions for you. 4-1 was the final score. Do you think that was a fair reflection? Do you think that that's harsh on Ipswich, or do you think it could have even been that we might have even got more on another day?
No, I think as a minimum it was a fair reflection, and if anything, we could have nicked a couple more, Rob. Like I referenced 2 in the first half, 1 off the line, 1 off the post. I think their goalie made a few good saves. And actually, Rob, what was quite an interesting stat, since the Opta stats began, that's the most shots on target we've ever had in a game in the Premier League. 13 shots on target out of 20, which is good to see. We were peppering their goal, and you're slowly starting to see what the manager is trying to implement, and I like the look of it.
Fair enough. Any final thoughts before we go our separate ways, bruv?
Yeah. Just one, Rob, is that I'm really pleased for the manager, or the head coach, but I call him the manager.
Yep.
But I'm really pleased for him, because if we didn't win yesterday, there's a bit of pressure on him, and there's always a bit of pressure. But I like to think that kind of gets the fans on board a little bit. First win at home, you know, they can see, this is what this guy wants to bring to the table. And also for the players to get the players believing in the manager, which I'd like to think they do anyway. But as a collective, fan base, players, we're all pulling in the same direction behind this guy. And I do think, Rob, give him the chance and we will see, the style of football that we want.
Fair. Right, guys, thanks for joining us, as I always say. So please don't forget before you depart to like, comment on and share this stream to your socials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you are new around here. And don't forget to hit the bell icon for alerts and new content. Just remember, guys, all these things you can do take a couple of seconds of your time. They're free of charge to you and they help to grow the channel into something bigger and better down the track. And as always, we thank you very much indeed for your support. We're going to disappear. We'll see you on the next broadcast. Please don't forget to give your supports to the Iron Supporting Food Banks charity. Come on, you Irons, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Iron Supporting Food Banks collects food and cash donations for needy families in Newham Borough and beyond. Please consider making a donation via their Just Giving page, the link for which you will find in the description section of this stream. Come on, you Irons.